I hear a lot of people complain that modern SUVs aren't rugged or capable enough to go off-roading. Well, I guess those people must have forgotten about the Lexus GX then. This baby has been on sale since 2010 and has remained remarkably unchanged since then. It's still powered by a big V8 engine, it still has a body-on-frame design, and it's still rugged and capable off-road. This is unlike pretty much any other SUV you can buy in 2020. It feels almost like it came straight out of the mid-1990s. I'm going to show you what the 2020 Lexus GX 460 is all about. So as I said, there's really nothing like a GX. The design has not changed too much over the course of this car's decade-long life. We now have Lexus's very aggressive spindle grille, not my favorite part of the design. I was much happier when the GX did not have this grille, but hey, Lexus has to have a corporate face, so the 2020 facelifted GX has it too. I do like the updates that they've made to the LED headlights though. Those look pretty cool. We have the new Sport Design package. It's about a $2,000 optional extra. Gets you these shadow black 19-inch wheels. They look really stylish. I do like how those blend with this blue paint job. You have this very square, upright, rugged appearance that you just don't get on a lot of other crossovers anymore. And back here, the GX has looked pretty much the same, even dating back to the first generation GX 470, which is sold in other markets. It won't have a Lexus badge. You'll see it as a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, which is what this vehicle is based off of. You have these very small taillights, at least compared to the rest of the vehicle, and they are scarlet when you opt for the Sport Design package, giving this car just a little bit more of a shadowy presence than you would otherwise get in a GX. I wouldn't call this car pretty, but it definitely looks intimidating. Are you the type of person who thinks that technology peaked in 2010? Well, Lexus has the car for you, because the GX is hilariously outdated when it comes to the interior, because this vehicle was released a decade ago and they haven't really done any major changes to it since then. Take this touchscreen, for example. It's not the newest system that Lexus has. I know the RX just got a touchscreen. Please watch my 2020 Lexus RXL review, but the GX has had this screen for so long that Lexus has created a new interface. They had the remote touch little control knob, then they went to a touch pad like you would get on a laptop, and now they have gone back to touchscreens, all in the span that the GX has had this very same screen. My mom actually owned a 2007 ES Lexus, and it had pretty much this exact same screen with the exact same graphics. I think the only differences now are that it has like Bluetooth audio streaming, and when I toss it into reverse, I have this optional 360-degree camera, which itself looks outdated, but there's nothing wrong with this system. It does everything just fine. There are big buttons everywhere, which I do love. Volume knob feels really nice in hand. I've got a tuning knob, which is great. Temperature up, down, very easy to control. The only thing that I will say is a complete pain is that to adjust the fan speed, you have to click on climate and then you have to adjust the fan speed here on the touchscreen. I have no idea why Lexus couldn't fit a fan speed button somewhere on here. I mean, look at this screen. All it tells me is the time and the temperature on both sides, and I need all of this black real estate, this black screen, just to show me that. That's a little bit silly, and that's a little bit of poor design there, but everything else is very simple. So we've got some nice materials. These seats, for example, are really soft. Like, they don't really make leather like this anymore. It's just very soft and cushy. If you sit in a BMW, it's gonna feel like a rock hard chair compared to this, which is like an ottoman. It's fantastic. We've got some junky plastic here on the dash and on the doors. I don't know how well this is going to wear, but it is a Lexus, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. We have a 2 material steering wheel here with leather here on the grips and wood here. It just feels very premium to me, and they have updated the GX over the years with safety technology. 2020 comes with a big update. Lexus's standard suite of safety technology comes here, so we do have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, all of that, which helps keep the GX feel relevant. Now down here, we have a lot of mechanical controls here. We have these cool toggle switches, which I love. This one controls the stiffness of the suspension. You can select normal, comfort, or sport with that. I can't really feel a huge difference between them. We have our ride height adjuster, so you can go low, medium, high on that. It doesn't really work while you're driving, but does make it a little bit easier to get in and out of, or if you're doing some rock crawling or things like that, you can put the suspension into its high mode. We also have hill descent control, and we have our 4-wheel high and low toggle. This vehicle does activate 4-wheel drive all the time. Normally it defaults to 40-60 with 60% of the power going to the rear. We do have our diff lock here. That's going to help us when we get this vehicle off-road later in this review. But there are some things that I really love about the simplicity here. Like, for example, the climate for the seats. I have heating and ventilation seats. It's a dial. So if I want heated seats, I rotate the dial into the red zone. If I want them on cool, I rotate them into the blue zone. And when I start up the vehicle, I know that the seat is going to be exactly where I left it with the ventilation on. I remember I just reviewed the LC 500 convertible, and to get to the seat controls, you had to go through a variety of things on a menu. I miss physical controls like this. They were simple, they worked, they were easy to use. If you had, let's just say you were in a coma since 2005 and you've never been in a vehicle in 15 years and you hopped in this one, you'd be right at home. You'd know what everything does, and that's a testament to just really easy, simple, quality design and functionality. Now back here, passenger space is not the GX's forte. The way this truck is engineered doesn't really conform that well to passenger space. I only have about 34 inches of legroom, and like an old school like 2000s or mid 90s SUV, I really feel like my knees are very high and up into my chest area. I owned a 2002 Pathfinder that was kind of like this. Now we do have the optional captain's chairs back here that do give you a little bit more comfort. I can slide these forward manually. I can also recline them as well using this lever here on the side, so that does add to the comfort quite a bit. We also have our own climate controls. I have heated seats on both of these captain's chairs. I can control the climate control separately. I've got vents up here to stay cool. That's nice. I also have this ridiculous rear entertainment system. I haven't seen one of these on a test car in a long time. You get one of these, a little remote control to control the screens, and you also get these, a little pair of Lexus branded wireless headphones, so you can watch your movies in peace. We can plug in an HDMI or AV outlets and control those here in the center console, but this screen is really tiny. It's barely bigger than the biggest iPhone you can buy, so I would take the $2,000 that this costs and just get your kids a couple of iPads. Those are going to look much better. They're going to be able to do way more things with it. Now this is a 3-row vehicle, and getting into the 3rd row isn't too difficult. You just have this mechanical lever here that's going to slide the seat all the way forward, making the egress not too difficult. I can go ahead and climb back where I have about 29 inches of legroom back here. When I go ahead and close this seat, I do feel like my knees are very much in my chest, but for a smaller passenger, I feel like these seats would be usable in a pinch, and I do have air vents back here, which is a nice touch, as well as cup holders and controls for these seats to lower them. Unlike most SUVs, the way that you open up the back of the Lexus GX is a side opening barn door, a little bit similar to a Jeep Wrangler in that respect. You can actually lock it using this big, massive strut here. And when you open it up, you're gonna find that you do not have a lot of room back here with the 3rd row in place, only about 11 cubic feet of storage. Now you can lower these electronically using these buttons back here in the cargo hold. There are identical buttons in the second row so you can put them up from the rear seat as well. You don't have to do it from back here. I like that they put in the 2 redundant controls from that. But what you will notice is if you have big heavy boxes, you have a long way to lift it up to get back here. There is a huge bumper here and then a huge bit of height on top of that. So it is a little bit hard to lift items back here, but you do have a lot of space when those seats are folded, about 46 cubic feet of it to be exact. And if you fold down those second rows, which can only be done from the second row using a manual lever, you get about 64 cubic feet of space, which is big, but to be honest, the Kia Seltos, which is a subcompact crossover that I'm reviewing this week, only has 2 cubic feet less than that. So in terms of maximized storage space, this isn't really the best cargo hauler available. But what I do like about the GX is that unlike a lot of modern SUVs, you can just open the rear glass so you can throw items in there really quickly if you have like smaller items. And when you go ahead and open up that barn door and have the little covering over you, it almost looks like you can operate a storefront out of here. So if I'm selling shirts or something out of the back at a tailgate, this is a great way to conduct your business. Time to find out what the decade-old GX460 feels like in its old age. Now, at the heart of this body-on-frame beast is a 4.6-liter V8 engine that dates back to King Midas's time. He said to his kingdom, "Build me a V8 that will last me through the darkest of times." And they produced this V8. It only produces 301 horsepower and 329 pound-feet of torque, which those are like such low numbers for 2020. Toyota actually makes a V6 engine that produces just as much horsepower, but that's not really the point of this engine. It's all about smoothness, toughness, torque delivery, and reliability. This engine, the only way to destroy it is to toss it into the fires of Mount Doom. I mean, seriously, there are people that drive this engine hundreds of thousands of miles with pretty much no reported problems. And just like the engine, it's made into a pretty old school transmission, a 6-speed automatic. I guess it's better than having a 5-speed, and it gets some pretty prehistoric fuel economy figures as well. 15 mpg in the city, 19 mpg on the highway, and 16 mpg combined, but I guess that's to be expected when you've got a V8 hauling around this much weight. But there is some benefit to having this engine and body on frame setup, like the towing capacity. You're going to be able to tow 6,500 pounds with this guy, which is a lot more than you'll get in some rivals. Now we've got a torsion limited slip differential sending 40% of the power to the front and 60% to the rear under most circumstances. It can divvy that up differently depending on your circumstances. We've also got a 2-speed transfer case and a locking center differential. That's going to come in handy when you get this vehicle off-road. But now that we're on the road, I kind of want to just remind you of what SUVs used to drive like in the mid-2000s and 1990s. Body-on-frame vehicles are floppy. You turn in the steering and the wheel goes, and then about half a second later, the rest of the vehicle kind of turns in after the chassis. It's just a very interesting feeling that you don't get a lot anymore with unibody crossovers. It's kind of refreshing, actually. Like, it's kind of old school. I do kind of love it. But the GX is not uncomfortable. It doesn't ride, it rides like a truck, like in its, it does have a lot of truck attributes. Like when it goes over big bumps, it does kind of porpoise around, you know, that body on frame vehicle is gonna do that. But we've got adaptive variable suspension with electronic dampers that help keep the ride very compliant. Like this is definitely of Toyota's truck platforms. You've got this, you've got the bigger Land Cruiser, then of course you have the Tacoma and the Tundra on the Toyota side, and the 4Runner. This is definitely, I think, the most comfortable, or at least one of the most comfortable, up there with the LX 570. So it is smooth, it's quiet, it's comfortable. The V8 is not a grunty motor. It kind of sounds like an old man breathing, just like real low, real rumbly. It fires to life with a sort of breath. I do like it. It's very quiet. You almost don't even hear the engine at all. And although it's only a 6-speed automatic, it works fine with the ratios. If I need power delivery quick, there's only 6 gears to sort through, so I get power delivery very quickly. Now, we do have some modes here on the suspension. We've got sport, normal, and comfort, but I don't really notice a huge difference between them. No matter what, I'm taking a corner now, you're gonna feel yourself really flop to the side here, no matter what suspension mode you're in. So this is not a particularly sporty or composed vehicle. It drives very much like an old school vehicle. Now, the reason why you would buy this is not for its on-road prowess, because there are a lot of car-based crossovers that are more refined than this out in the road. The reason why you're going to buy a GX is because you want to take it off-road. If you're going to spend all of your time out on the road and you just need to haul people with 3 rows, Lexus makes a crossover for that, the RXL. That's got 3 rows, very comfortable. But here's what a Lexus RX will not do that the GX will. Get up a road like this. I'm going to go ahead and put it in drive. We're just in 4-wheel high. I haven't like locked the diff or anything crazy, but let's see it go right up this hill. Here we go, up and over. Getting a little bit of slippage. We fell through the rocks. And there we go. Up and over. Can't have an RX do that. And I just want to point out that the Lexus GX does offer a $1,500 off-road package. That's going to get you multi-terrain select, crawl control that's sort of like a low-speed off-road cruise control. We are doing it without any of that old school. So let's go ahead and show you some of the articulation that the GX can achieve. We're gonna go very slowly over this bump. It's a very slow operation. You have to be very careful and delicate with the throttle here. We're gonna get over the crest, showing you some wheel articulation, and we're gonna stop. Now, we've probably reached a point where this thing is not gonna get itself out of here on its own. We're gonna need to put it into 4-wheel low. So for that, I have to put it into neutral. It's gonna beep at me until I do that. There we go. Now it's gonna trigger my off-road settings, and I can go ahead and put it back into drive. I can also lock the differential. Now this thing is gonna get out of this situation absolutely no problem. Oh my gosh, it crawls right out. You can't buy too many SUVs in 2020 that'll do that. So let's summarize how the GX 460 did off-road. I really appreciate the torque and grunt from this V8 engine. It definitely makes the GX feel like a more gutsy vehicle than the 4Runner on Toyota's side, which only comes with a V6 engine. I really wish Toyota would offer this 4.6 in the 4Runner. Now, there is an issue here. This car is very comfortable and very quiet and very plush on the highway, but it does have a fatal flaw out here on this type of surface, and that is this stupid spindle grille. Now, if you look at the car before this, the GX 470, the first generation model, it had a front end that stopped about here. This grille just keeps going all the way down and down and down, and that's going to cause issues for you in terms of ground clearance. So if you are trying to tackle steep inclines, verticals, things like that, you are going to rub this front end. But other than that, the GX is a lot more capable than other SUVs you'll find on the market today. So that was the 2020 Lexus GX 460. Pricing starts at about $53,000 on the mark. As tested, this one that you see here is about $71,000. Now the GX, as I said in the opening, is unlike any other SUV that you can buy today. The only things that I would even say are comparable are maybe the new Land Rover Defender, which is unibody, and the Mercedes G-Wagon, which is nearly double the price. Now the Lexus GX is unique in that it off-roads, it's capable, it's simplistic. The technology is not at the forefront of the car. You buy this because you like how cars used to be back in the day, back in the mid-2000s, back in the 1990s. It really takes you back to when SUVs truly were rugged workhorses that were engineered to be comfortable on the road, not the other way around. Now the GX is probably going to be the last vehicle you ever need to buy. If you're getting up there in age and you don't want to buy any other vehicles, you want this to be the last one you ever have to buy, this is one of the most solid, reliable, and simplistic cars you can get. And for that reason, it's a compelling choice. I just don't see a huge market for it, although Lexus does sell a bunch of these every year, about 25,000 or so. So there must be a small subsection of people who just really want a capable SUV like this, and that's why Lexus continues to offer it. We really hope you've enjoyed this review of the 2020 Lexus GX 460 and really enjoyed seeing it out on the off-road park. Now, for more videos like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted of all of our latest videos. And for more information on the Lexus GX, be sure to click the link in the description below to be taken to carbuzz.com. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time.